Hello everyone, Wade from High Tech Legion here, and with over 1,000 videos uploaded, if you haven't seen it here, you may not have seen it anywhere. What I'm going to be showing you in this video is an overview and benchmarks for the D-Link DGL-5500 gaming router. It is rated at AC1300 and with 3 streams on the 2.4 GHz band and 2 streams on the 5 GHz band. So using 802.11n on the 2.4 GHz band, you have up to 450 megabits per second, and using 802.11ac on the 5 GHz band, you have up to 867 megabits per second. Some might say that this is a little bit of an odd configuration. Why not get the most speed out of the AC band since it's capable of a higher rate? However, there's still a lot of devices that are out there, and it has the market saturated, and the 802.11ac is just starting to be deployed in devices. So in my opinion, it makes more sense for it to be the way that D-Link did it, so that your end devices have the highest speed possible at this point, yet still be compatible with the newer 802.11ac standard. So let's take a closer look at the router itself, and I'll tell you about some of the features, especially the Qualcomm Streamboost feature that is included in this router. So here, let's take a closer look at the router. As you can see, it is sticking with the typical style of most of the current D-Link routers with this round cylindrical shape, and instead of a typical square rectangular box that many of the routers that we're used to seeing are. We've got 2 indicator lights on the front for our power as well as our internet connection. You've also got WPS indication here, and these lights will change color and flash depending on what they're indicating. On the back of the router, you've got everything that's labeled very well here in red lettering: your USB port, your WPS pin button, your 4-port Gigabit switch, and your WAN connection labeled internet here, which is also a Gigabit port, your power switch, and your 12-volt 2-amp adapter connection. So this is a 3x2 stream router. You have 3 streams on the 2.4 GHz band and 2 streams on the 5 GHz band. It is an 802.11ac router, so on your 5 GHz band for streaming you get up to 867 megabits per second. That's a very good speed, especially considering we're wireless. So one of the cool features that this has, though, is Qualcomm Streamboost. And what Streamboost does is it does traffic shaping on your network. So if you have a certain amount of bandwidth, certain programs or services might try to take all of that bandwidth on your devices. So if you have one device, that's not a problem. But the average home has 7 devices that are wireless. So if one device sucks up all of the bandwidth, then your other devices have nothing to use and are going to run very slow, and you're not going to have an acceptable experience. So what Streamboost does is it will dynamically allot bandwidth based on the machine's needs, and it's constantly changing and adjusting based on what it's pulling for data. So one of the things that I did was I ran downloads from Stream. One of the things that I did to test Streamboost was I ran downloads from Steam and Origin, and those both tend to try to take as much bandwidth as possible to get your games downloaded as fast as possible, which is great. But say you're trying to stream a Netflix video at the same time. In most cases, with most routers, you might get some stuttering in that Netflix video because your other system is competing for bandwidth and sucking all of it up. An HD stream, 10 to 15 megabits per second. So you need a little bit of bandwidth there to be able to stream that Netflix video. And so what Streamboost would do is it would limit the bandwidth of your machines that are taking downloads and knock that down in priority so that your Netflix stream could be played without any stuttering or out of sync audio or things like that. So that's a very cool feature here, and in our testing it worked very well. And for 30 days I tested this router and I didn't have any trouble with any of my devices seeming like they were extremely slow, even while I was downloading games on Steam and Origin or running multiple video streams on different devices. You can also adjust the priority of devices, so a certain device you can put up to the top if you want that to have priority over the other ones. On top of that, the Streamboost is always changing, so if you agree to the cloud-based updates, more applications will be recognized, and if the application is recognized, then it's going to be able to prioritize the bandwidth better. So as more applications get added to the ecosystem, you'll be getting updates on the router so that the routers recognize them. Even if it's not categorized though, it can still prioritize the streams and data based on the type of traffic that's being used. So this is definitely targeted at home users and gaming users because they're the ones who are most often running multiple streams, gaming, downloading all at the same time. Most of the time in a business environment, you're using web applications and things like that, not streaming video. One other thing that I really like about this is the small footprint. As you can see, it fits pretty much the bottom of it in the palm of my hand. So it takes up very little space on your desk. However, it is not wall mountable like some routers, so if you're looking to wall mount, you're not going to be able to do that with this. It takes up a lot less space than the typical rectangular router as far as desk space. So it's a good design in that sense. You've got the model name on the top of the router as well, with a little sticker here that has your default SSID names, though I do recommend, and the default password, though I do recommend you change those just to make it so there's something that you recognize and a password that is easy for you to remember. You've also got information on the bottom of the router with your model number and how to access the router itself. The username and password. Default username is admin, default password is blank. I again recommend that you change the password to something other than a blank password, something that you're going to remember and something that's not vulnerable like the default passwords typically are. You also have the Wi-Fi information printed on the bottom as well, hardware version, serial number, and the MAC address of the router itself. Let's take a look at the benchmarks and see how this performed. As you can see from the benchmarks, the D-Link DGL-5500 router performed very well and definitely had more than enough speed to be able to stream video, audio, game on, and things like that, and the Streamboost definitely is going to help that type of thing. Let's take a look at the accessories that it comes with. One thing they give you is a Cat5e cable so that you can easily connect up your cable modem or DSL modem. If you don't have one of those already, it's included with it, so you don't have to worry about that. you've got your 12 volt 2 amp power adapter. It's got a nice end on it that you don't have to worry about breaking off very easily. You've got a Wi-Fi configuration card that they include with the default names on it as well, and a place for you to write the information if you decide to change it from the defaults. Again, I recommend you change the defaults so there's something that you recognize and there's something that you can remember, and that you don't have default network names crossing over each other if you have somebody who happens to have the same router in your neighborhood. You also have a manual which gives you information on how to hook up the router and some troubleshooting. One other cool thing that D-Link offers on their support site is an emulator for the software, so you're able to check out the interface of the software before you even buy the router. If you check out my full review, there is a link in the conclusion of the full review for that. I hope you all enjoyed the overview and benchmarks for the DGL-5500 router from D-Link with the Qualcomm Streamboost technology. For the full review, please see www.hightechlegion.com, and don't forget to check out our software firmware tutorial on the router as well on our YouTube channel. You'll also find that in the review. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages. Take care.